I think he did eventually answer. He said that the entire operation is going to cost like 138 million or something like that. 60 days of occupation at minimum. That's so many crayons. Yeah, the Marines are in LA now. They just haven't been like seen, but they are there.
Day. As of now, we have not received words of raids. I think you all understand that the city is not notified when ICE goes to a workplace. And what we rely on, frankly, is reporting from the community, especially the immigrant rights organizations that have formed the Rapid Response Network. That is usually how we hear about a raid taking place. As far as we know, there might be one rally today, but we don't believe there's going to be a series of them, and we don't have a lot of information about that one rally. I do want to say that at 6 o'clock tonight, though, there will be an interfaith prayer vigil of which I will be honored to attend, and it will be at 6 o'clock, calling for peace, calling for unifying our community, calling for supporting
Dude has cool hair.
Angelina.
You didn't grow up around black people. It's fine. It's okay. You don't have to announce it. Just, if you haven't been invited to the cookout, just don't talk about black people's hair, because you reveal, it's so unintentionally revealing. You don't even know what the minefield, you don't even know what the mines look like.
So let me just say now, commenting about last night, the violence we saw last night, there is just no way to view it as unacceptable.
His ASL is super clean.
So I do
it
not
looks
believe
pretty.
that
It looks like he's maneuvering pretty.
Vandalism and violence in our city really are in support of immigrants.
Pretty
they
well.
have another agenda. If you support immigrants and the rights of immigrants to be in our city, you would not be tearing the city apart or vandalizing it. And I do want to say, especially for our national audiences, that those of us in Los Angeles understand that the unrest that has happened are a few blocks within the downtown area. It is not all of downtown, and it is not all of the city. Unfortunately, the visuals make it seem as though our entire city is in flames, and it is not the case at all. And I think it's important to say that. Now, having said that, though, the violence and the damage is unacceptable.
Really?
It is not going to be tolerated.
Really?
And individuals will be arrested and prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And no individual that is involved in vandalism should think because they went home that night that they're off scot-free, because investigations will take place, and I am assured by the police department that there will be follow-up and arrests. The extensive vandalism downtown, especially of the graffiti that is just blanketing a number of blocks, has been extensive. We are 1 year away from the World Cup. This is about beautifying our city and bringing our city together.
Dog, it's Los Angeles. Covering the entirety of downtown with graffiti that's an improvement. Okay, downtown Los Angeles is legitimately one of the ugliest, most wretched metropolitan spaces I have ever been to, and the fact that Los Angeles is so culturally significant makes it all the more embarrassing. Honestly, like, dude, graffiti culture has like roots in Los Angeles. Just let them pepper the place. It's like those two big unfinished Chinese housing towers that were built downtown that got covered in graffiti, and everyone loved it, but the police were like, no, we're just going to use this as an excuse to fly helicopters around it 24/7 for a few nights.
And so I am calling on business leaders, community leaders, faith leaders to come together downtown in the next few days to talk about how we are going to clean up the city. Obviously, city workers are already out there removing the graffiti, but this is so extensive, it's going to take community-wide involvement. We had launched a program called Shine LA a couple of months ago in preparation for the World Cup, and now we are called on to direct that citywide. We need people from all over the city to come to downtown and to help with this effort. The staff, the mayoral staff standing behind me, represent the best of our organizers and community liaisons.
I mean, what is she supposed to say? Break more stuff? Police officer, she wouldn't. She honestly, like, all of this, literally everything that's happening right now is caused by ICE, by the federal government. So all she needs to say is this continued social unrest is a product of deliberate behavior from the presidential administration. He sent National Guardsmen here. He sent ICE here. He sent the Marines here with the intention of causing this because he wants to use it to further his political agenda. And then she would say something like, obviously, we do not condone the looting, the riots, the graffiti, but we must address these problems at their root. And the root is obvious that it sits in the White House. We're not like Kamala Harris did it. Not Hegseth, sorry, again, I'm doing the Patrick Bateman lookalike thing again. Gavin Newsom did it, it's not impossible.
And they will be leading that effort. I do want to go back and say that, just go back in time a minute. On Thursday.
So the National Guard made the people riot? That doesn't make sense. Maybe not if you're stupid, I guess. None of these protests were happening before ICE's behavior. And sending the National Guard, deploying the National Guard over nothing increases unrest. It increases tension, which leads to more people protesting, obviously. It increases the thing they're protesting, which increases the social unrest. Social unrest leads to the looting, the rioting, the graffiti. So if they're deliberately increasing the social unrest, they're deliberately increasing the looting, the rioting, the graffiti.
Of last week, Los Angeles was peaceful. There was nothing going on here.
She's pointing it out. Listen
to
her.
Federal intervention that took place the very next day. If we want to look at the cause of what is happening here, I take it back to raids that took place on Friday and the uncertainty and the fear and the fact that families across the city are terrified that they don't know if they should go to work. They don't know if they should go to school. We have people that were detained. We don't even know the exact numbers of the people.
By the way, politically, if the Democrats were even remotely politically effective, they would defend every single thing the protesters did no matter what, which is exactly what Republicans do anytime any of theirs do anything wrong. We're in a war, okay? Why should Democrats have to hem and haw and go, well, we don't agree with the exact thing. A police officer got a boo-boo last night trying to stub their toe kicking back a tear gas spray that was kicked back at them. When Republicans just openly defend Jan 6. When you talk to any Republican, including the ones in the White House, and you say January 6th, they'll say based? Based? You'll say they attacked cops. They'll say based?
That were detained. We have people that have not had contact with legal representation, nor have they even had contact with their families. And so there is an awful lot of concern. When the administration started, they said that this was about crime. They were going to go after violent felons, drug dealers. And I don't know how that matches with the scenes that we saw of people in Home Depot running through the parking lot because they were afraid that they were going to get arrested. You are talking about people who are trying to survive day by day, which is what a day laborer is doing, and why they would be considered as part of a problem as opposed to contributing to our economy is very difficult for me to understand. We've also received reports of people who were here legally, who were showing up for their annual appointment at the immigration office, and maybe even household.
Few streets, but it does seem to be ramping up. There was a lot of looting last night spreading to other parts of downtown LA. I know you've said that the solution is to stop the raids, but the federal government has said that's not going to happen. What is your plan to bring calm to the city?
Well, first of all, when I say a few streets, I don't mean that to mean like it's very small, because the vandalism, especially the graffiti, has happened kind of outside of that.
Oh, thank you, Karen Bass. I appreciate you. The reporter comes at you with the right-wing framing, and your response is, hold on, I don't think your framing was right-wing enough. People need to be more afraid of the looting.
But nevertheless, I'm trying to counter the image that this is happening all over our city, because it is not. And so we do want law enforcement to respond aggressively. Anybody that is out committing crimes are not doing it in solidarity with immigrants. They are doing the exact opposite. So we have to enforce the law here. I'm going to continue advocating with the federal government, though, to see how disruptive this is. But there needs to be a call that says this is unacceptable. And if you engage in this behavior, you will be prosecuted. Now, we're looking at things like curfews. We're looking at other aggressive response that we can have in case this violence breaks out again.
Do you think there will be a curfew? And wouldn't you say that the LAPD
Jesus Christ.
Well, I do think that they are, but I do think that we need to be in terms of prevention. And I don't mean aggressive in terms of engaging with the crowd, but there's things that you can do to prevent. So I had a brief conversation with the chief this morning about a curfew. So we will be meeting about that later on today. And that's the type of aggressive tactic I was referring to. The new information this minute. Go ahead.
We want to give this guy a mic?
Well, that doesn't mean that I will stop. You know that. I'm not going to give up. But on the other hand, you just said 60 days. Somebody else is going to say 30. Somebody's going to say 90. The bottom line is we don't know. And that is consistent with ICE raids, of course. We never know when. We never know how long. But that very notion creates such a terrible sense of fear in our city. And it's just not right to do that to a population who's trying to survive. We are a city of immigrants.
I hate the constant appeals to weakness from them as well. Like, you're always appealing to empathy. Stop appealing to empathy. Who the f cares? You're obviously dealing with unempathetic monsters. Stop with this, like, you know, we're being bullied here, we're under attack, and start using antagonistic language, okay?
No, I think that was money, as I understand it, that they were going to spend on the troop mobilization. Maybe that's what you're referring to. They don't need to spend it themselves. So I could not even imagine that they would come here and ask us to reimburse their unnecessary expense. Just imagine what we could do.
What happens when the police department gets worn out completely? A meaningless hypothetical. The police department will never be worn out. It's the LAPD. Their resources are infinite. Did you see how many officers they had deployed last night? They had so many police cars parked down an avenue, it stretched out in a block, 3, like, long blocks. All of the bullshitting you hear about the police officers being stretched thin is just that. It's bullshit.
With $130 million in terms of preparing our city for the World Cup. Exactly. No, LA cannot afford it. Yes.
How does LAPD work that they can operate in Paramount City when that's not in LA City? Police officers can work in different jurisdictions if they're being brought in by the local police force. Like, if you have jurisdiction in an area, your police force can get help from other police forces. They have transferable authority.
No, that is correct, but Julia, at this point
yeah, it's
in
called
time,
mutual
really
aid, apparently.
Early. Oh, okay. Where are you going? Let me just. I'm sorry. You finished? Okay. I was worried about that before the ICE raids. I mean, that is a worry. I mean, you know, the theme of the administration is uncertainty. And so I have been very hopeful, and you know this, in terms of the fires and the cooperation we received from the federal government, working well with the administration, and now the pendulum has swung in a whole nother area. Well, you know what it would mean. I mean, you know that we came off of a very difficult budget year, but you also, it's very important to understand that it takes FEMA a long time. We're still looking for some reimbursements from COVID. And that didn't have anything to do with this. Immigrants are concerned about wreaking havoc, and our immigrant rights organizations that have been institutions, well established, well respected.
I don't know why, but her speech reminds me of Kamala Harris. I'm going to assume it's not because you're racist and sexist, since she has nothing in common with Kamala Harris in terms of, like, appearance or how she sounds. And I'm going to instead be charitable and assume that what you mean is that she's spineless and offering no real solution or, like, rhetorical through line, right? And in that respect, you're correct. Democratic politicians are shockingly boring. And this is why they lose, right? It literally does. By the way, guys, I wouldn't be surprised at all if you see Donald Trump's approval ratings rise after this. Why wouldn't they? Seriously. The American public loves it when the military and police crack down on protesters. The American public is being showered with news clips from complicit Hitlerites framing things. This is probably going to work in Trump's favor. And a lot of that is because the Democratic opposition is non-existent. What would the difference be if there was a Republican mayor? They would say some egregiously, openly racist shit, and that would probably encourage more people to protest. Honestly, Karen Bass is probably worse than a Republican mayor would be in this situation.
Institutions in our city for decades are used to doing protests. They are very well organized and coordinated, and they don't tolerate the violence. Yesterday's demonstration that was put on by labor, especially in solidarity with David Huerta, they had a system there where they wouldn't let people in a certain area if they had a mask on. My point is that we know how to take care of these issues ourselves. And then when you said about
AP News?
of Los Angeles.
Okay.
There might have been some others I've heard about that were outside of the city that day. And I heard about it when the Rapid Response Network began notifying people that a raid was taking place. And then at that point, the family members know, hey, my son, my father, my spouse is working at this place. And then they start showing up. So that's when I heard about it. And then shortly after that, you began hearing from the administration. The National Guard issue came into play on Friday as well as Saturday. That's when I was talking to officials with the Trump administration, including Tom Holman. I spoke to him maybe about an hour before he said if I got out of line or the governor did, we'd both be arrested.
Any updates from the Marines? They're there. They just haven't gone out in the street yet.